You should make a Picrew. Your art style is lovely, and I'd love to see my OCs in it. Have you ever made a Picrew? You have the perfect art style for that. Anyway, have a wonderful day. I think I used a Picrew maker you made a few years ago.
Did you make that one
Do you have a Picrew?
I swear to God, I recognize your art style.
I love your avatar. It looks like a Japanese off the peach hairs for their
Fine. Hello, my name is Bubs, I'm an artist, and I like to hear myself talk, and today I'd like to hear myself talk about Picrew. Or maybe it's supposed to be Picrew, or it's Picrew? If you think it's anything besides Picrew, you are in for some pain and suffering today, because I say it Picrew. I'm an American, and that means it's my God-given right to pronounce words as stupidly as I please. Look, I'm not happy about it either, but hey, take solace that making this video was painful for me too, and it's not just because the summer heat has been slow cooking me. For the uninformed, Picrew is a fairly popular Japanese website that hosts a bunch of image-based character makers. There is also an English version of the site, so that's how ya boy was able to use it. Any artist can make one of these little image creator things and post it for free, and many artists do. From the very start of this little channel I call home, people have been mentioning this Picrew thing to me, asking me if I've made one, / if I ever plan to make one, saying my art style reminds them of certain Picrew makers, or somehow Picrew in general, and most bizarrely proclaiming that they have indeed used my character maker that most definitely did not exist when they said that. I guess they could be time travelers or something, and this is all a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, but I digress. I have known all along what Picrew is, and have even used it a great many times to get down quick character ideas or play around with a few color or style options without having to actually draw anything myself because I'm lazy like that sometimes. In fact, one of the characters from my comic, Geo, who hasn't actually showed up yet at time of recording, but he will eventually, was pretty much entirely conceived of within that one character generator by Nuggets. You know the one. Probably. As a user of Picrew, I know how helpful and fun it can be, but it also seemed like it would be a lot of work for very little reward. For me personally, anyway. You guys would like it, I hope, and that's cool, but the list of things I need to do seemed very long and unfortunately very tedious, which is actually way worse in my opinion. On top of that, I know that art theft happens a bunch through Picrew, plus the fact that I'm not sure if any artists actually get any kickback to their main socials, even when their maker gets super popular. Still, after one too many comments containing the word Picrew smacking me upside the head, I decided to do a little bit of research into how it works, which turned into a couple of test sketches, which then turned into this video idea. So if you would like to hear me talk about the process of putting together a Picrew from start to functional, feel free to settle in with a refreshing beverage, a snack if you so please, and anything you'd like to work on alongside me. Hopefully you will learn something from this if you have been thinking of making one yourself, but either way, I hope that you will find my slow descent into madness entertaining. Let's start this video where I did, my first day working on this. As you may or may not know, recently I took a little bit of a week-long break from pretty much all my big projects to sort of rest and reset. It wasn't a week off per se, because I ended up doing more stuff than if I had been treating it like my standard sort of YouTube grind I had fallen into, but the work I was doing was stuff like starting on new talk sprites, working on my comic, and doing some more personal life behind the scenes things. Stuff that I've been wanting to get started or get done for a good long while, but had been too busy making hour-long videos about horny circus people and My Little Pony to do so. One of the projects I finally got the opportunity to start was actually this Picrew thing, and it started off in a strange place. As I said a bit earlier, I started with a little research to figure out what all I needed to do in order to make this happen. Unfortunately, there is less readily available information out there on the internet than I thought there would be. Which I probably should have taken as a red flag, but I just assumed it must have something to do with the fact that the hosting website is a Japanese entity, and maybe the majority of tutorials and such follow suit, and therefore are not accessible to me over in the bird country. Still, it was a bit shocking to look up how to make a Picrew on YouTube and see like 4 videos pop up tutorializing it. I did rewatch Lavender Town's video in preparation for my own Picrew journey, and it did help a lot, but there were some things she talked about that didn't really explain it in a way that helped me. I am dumb, and I need very explicit instructions, which is why I sought out more information from the website itself. There is actually some pretty helpful guides on the Picrew website, also very helpful, but I got kind of bored of reading after a while. All the knowledge in the world at my fingertips, yet my inability to sit still stymies me yet again. I am the problem, and I acknowledge that. Still, I quickly got the sense that the philosophy is actually kind of similar to the part separation thing that I picked up from making my VTuber model a bit ago. Oddly enough, just like that whole thing, I was also interrupted by a tornado while I was working on the Picrew stuff, but I'll talk more about that later. The important part is that it seemed pretty simple and intuitive for me, at least in the art department. So I spent the first day creating separate parts for the body, head, ears, and I started sketching ideas for the eyebrows and hair. It was a pretty enjoyable experience, in all honesty. You know me, I love some character design, and this was just an excuse to draw a bunch of stuff that I may or may not normally draw, especially in terms of the hair and such. A lot of my characters have pretty simple, low-detail hair that is easy to replicate over and over because I normally make them with comics in mind, so this gave me the opportunity to add more detail and have more fun with shape. It was very fun, and I started to think that maybe I had worked things out to be much worse in my head in all the time leading up to this. On that first day, I spent 4 hours and 57 minutes working on the assets for the Picrew. In other words, about 5 hours of calm before the storm. Before I talk about my second day, I just wanted to pop in to say that if you're enjoying the video so far, I'd really appreciate if you'd take the time to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Engagement like that is free for you, but goes a long way for me, and if you're liking the content and want to see more like this in the future, that's the way to tell me. Also, after all the work I put into this project, I would really like this video to perform well. I can't even front like that's not what's going on. Anyways, as the transition card would suggest, the second day was where the concept of this thing's being enjoyable started to be put to the test. It was my first real introduction to the tedium of it all. I spent the time here pretty evenly split between working on some more of the art and then starting to actually get it onto Picrew, and that was where things started to go pear-shaped. Another expression I would love to know the origin of, because as far as I'm aware, being pear-shaped is a very good thing. This is the first part where I'm going to interrupt talking about my actual experience by explaining how Picrew actually works. I want you to know, A, what I'm trying to do when I pop over to the recording of me fumbling around, and B, what I'm doing wrong. The most basic way to explain things is that Picrew is a bit of a glorified PSD file, or really any art file with multiple layers. The way that the interface works is that the user will just tell the program which files to turn off and on, and it's really no more fancy than that. This is not me dissing Picrew or anything like that. The actual interface is very smooth and is much more convenient than scrolling through endless layers toggling their visibility until you find what you want. It's also free to make one of these and to use, so it's not like I'm expecting the most premium experience out there. The only problem, however, is that Picrew operates by the creator uploading individual PNG files for every single part that you add. Parts are basically the separations of the individual pieces that you want your users to be able to change. This will be things like hair, eyes, face shape, the body, that sort of thing. Within each part, you can add up to 50 items, or in other words, all of the different shape options that your users can choose from for each part, and at most, 18 colors to choose from. Each of the items you add in needs its own PNG file to be uploaded in order for it to load in. This will require you to separately save everything in preparation. No 700-layer monsters allowed beyond the gate. This is actually fairly reasonable until you realize that you will also need to have separate versions for each of the color options you want. You cannot, to my understanding, simply have one image and then have Picrew change the color of it for you in-house. This means that if you want to have 3 options for shape and 3 options for colors, you go from needing 3 separate PNGs to needing 9 separate PNGs. Obviously, this stuff can add up quickly. For myself, for just the front hair bit, I ended up with 42 hair types, each available in 15 hair colors, which meant I needed to go through the process of saving pieces as separate PNGs and uploading those PNGs to Picrew 630 times for just one part. Not this day, of course. If it had been this early on and the sunk cost fallacy wasn't at play in my mind, you'd never see this fucking video. It is also obviously my fault for choosing to do that much. Picrew doesn't force you to have any more options than you want. There is no minimum. I guess besides one, because then it would be blank. But that being said, making something complex is still going to be a journey. Luckily, Picrew doesn't hate you too much and gives you the option to essentially batch upload your PNGs so you don't have to manually click and upload 630 pieces, but this does require you to be more vigilant when you're separating all your files. This bulk upload option relies on the name of the file you are uploading to sort them correctly within the backend here. Each item within Picrew is assigned an item number, and a file named with that number will be loaded into the corresponding item when using the bulk upload. So far, so simple. You just match the numbers. However, if you have more than one color option, things will get a little bit weirder. The bulk upload is done by color, so you will upload all your numbered files for one color and then do the same thing for the next. Every single color version needs to be named with the same number if the style is supposed to be consistent. Otherwise, you will end up with situations where you change the color of a piece in the actual maker, but the shape will change instead. This means you're going to have separate folders for each color unless you want your computer to yell at you that there's already a file there with that name. Hopefully I explained that all in a way that made sense. Now that you know what I should be doing on the first day I actually futzed with this stuff, let me show you what I actually did.
So I've got the Picrew thing to work. Don't look at my drive. Don't do it. I know that generally speaking you actually want to have all of the different little pieces, like the line art and everything is together. I have a bunch of like types of faces, but for now I want to get all of the bodies done. I'm going to have to save it as like a bunch of little pieces. Folder of Picrew. And then I'm going to new folder. Slim body. I'm probably gonna have to make subfolders for all the different pieces too, which is so fun. And I think you're supposed to name them as numbers for the different colors. Boy howdy, I know myself well, and I know that I am going to very quickly want to just vibe out to some music while I do this. Select file, show all files, slim body. Can I just, no, it wants me to do it one at a time. Okay, hold on. Is there a way to, like, oh, bulk upload. Here we go. Layer, normal, bulk icon images. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do icons in a bit. Display order? Is this like testing it? No, it is not. Creators wanted. I'm a creator. Can I get paid for this? I severely doubt this. Preview. Oh, preview. There's a button that says preview. Okay, loading. Okay, so there is 2 options, so that's pretty cool. You can click the all random. It's racist. It keeps doing the white one. Use remove button. I don't think you should be able to use the remove button because you need to have a body and you shouldn't have a floating head. I think that makes sense. Add items. Body. Change image number 1. No, I'm confused. No, that's not what I wanted. 750, okay. Good to know that that's how many little pieces I can have, because I wanted this to be, like, super complex for some fucking reason. I love learning new things, and every day I learn new things. This is not working, and I don't know why it's not working, because it worked for the other person that I watched. I guess I can do it one at a time. It's kind of annoying, but, I'm gonna have to figure out, like, what I'm doing wrong, because there's no way in hell that I am willingly going to go through the tedium of individually clicking my way through every single thing here. It's by color! Oh! Oh god, I'm gonna have so many fucking folders by the end. Oh god. I guess I will have to create... No! No! There's so many folders. I'm gonna need so many of them. No. I hate everything. I will say while I'm fucking doing all of this garbaggio, decided not to do, like, anything super, like, unnatural. I might do, like, some kind of accessories, like, oh, you can have, like, little wings, and, like, but, like, they're, like, gonna be, like, headband details, or, like, costumey kind of things. Maybe I might do that. Let's play it. Yes, very good, yes. So, I do have it is able to work. I'm probably gonna be done for the day, because I'm like, the tedium is a little bit getting on me. So far, this is working the way that I want it to. So far, so good. I'm having a lot of fun so far. Again, there's a lot of tedium involved, but, like, when I have music going, it's not that bad. It kind of helps me brain off for a little bit and get caught up on, like, podcasts or something like that, so.
I was so optimistic back then. I miss those days. Anyways, the total work time for day 2 was 2 hours and 27 minutes, with 54 of those minutes being devoted just to screwing around on the tech side. Day 3 was rife with disaster. Natural disaster. I had been working on the hair again, my definitive favorite part of the entire endeavor, for less than an hour before the tornado sirens went off. Honestly, I should have known that it was on the way, and I kind of did. I was listening to really loud music in my headphones because all of a sudden thunder and lightning was stressing me out a bit, but then the thunder and lightning and rain just kinda stopped suddenly. It's not that the storm had passed or stopped naturally, it was still very thick and overcast clouds. For the uninformed, that's a red flag. Luckily, everyone in my family got up and went downstairs, and we got all the pets down there. We also got in contact with everyone that was out at the time to make sure everyone was good. They were, we were, everything was fine, but that doesn't mean that it's not stressful, you know? I didn't really have the energy to get back at it for a while, and considering I was supposed to make a lot of progress that day due to the amount of time and motivation I had, I was a bit angry. That being said, ignoring the omen that this project was cursed, I was able to get in a couple more hours of work, bringing my total work time for day 3 to 3 hours and 6 minutes. Day 4 was just bad. It was a bad day for personal reasons, and I spent the majority of the time here fixing a shading inconsistency, so it actually was more tedious and frustrating than normal without any of the forward progress. Not fun. This was the first day where the fun had kind of worn off, and I was genuinely considering just quitting, but I sucked it up and got the hair shading thing fixed between making lasagna for the first time. According to my notes, for anyone curious, it wasn't bad, though it did need more salt and seasoning in general. There really isn't anything much to say about or show for this day, so I'm actually just gonna end this section here. This day ended up contributing the smallest amount to my cumulative work time, ending up with only 1 hour and 26 minutes spent. Day 5 brought with it a bit of a second wind. I was actually feeling better, likely because of the memory of lasagna success from the previous evening, and I was enjoying the process of making new parts. I had some head accessories that would have comboed well with hair and given options for things like headscarves and bonnets, provided that I had completed those and figured out how to make them look the way I wanted in the maker by the deadline I had given myself for this video. I did not, but I did try, and that's what really matters. Even the uploads for this day weren't too bad. I made the decision not to record the process this time since it was going to be much more of the same, and as such I allowed myself to listen to music as well as YouTube videos while I was separating and uploading things. This made the whole ordeal much less draining because I was at least getting to enjoy some things aside from the tedious activity I was doing. After putting in a solid 2 hours and 47 minutes, I put down all my Picrew stuff to make sure my comic page was all set to upload the following day. Things were looking up for me. I was well on schedule, my motivation was high, and I even started writing my thoughts about the process so far once I was done with the comic page. Unfortunately, those notes never got used because my positive view of everything would be shattered the next day. Day 6 was kind of just doomed from the start. It was the first day where I was pretty much out of art things to do. I had all the pieces that I needed and I couldn't stall uploading anymore. So day 6 was solely spent separating out and uploading all the different pieces of hair. It was my goal to get the hair sorted out if nothing else, and unfortunately I didn't meet that goal because about halfway through my work, I got hit with a migraine. While I've never been officially diagnosed with chronic migraines, I definitely get them frequently, somewhere around 10 to 15 times per month. It has been this way since I was in middle school, so it's not really worrying. Yet I didn't realize until college that they were migraines. Mind you, I knew what migraines were and had people describe them exactly how I experienced them, but for some reason it just didn't click. Probably because I was a bad advocate for myself growing up, and so a lot of people kind of downplayed my symptoms for me until I had myself convinced that I just got nasty stress headaches. Is this a trauma dump? Maybe. I actually did choose to record this day, so here is the heavily abridged version of my declining physical well-being. Doesn't that sound really fun to watch? Why did I word it like that?
Alright, I'm gonna record this, and I'm probably gonna be talking a little bit. Hopefully my headphones won't be picking up, but I'm gonna be listening to music in my headphones, because I can't fucking just sit here and... Oh. Hey, read fucking long exposure. It's so good. Probably part of the reason that every time I try to screen record anything, it looks like shit-ass quality is because I had the aspect ratio to like 1220 by 720. I don't know why it did that to me, but that will make me more confident in trying to maybe record gaming stuff soon. This is like the part that I hate because it's gonna be so fucking tedious. That's my issue with this, is that it's tedious. Why does it give me this green every time? I didn't put this green here. You will not make me create. I'm doing it the easy way. Copy pasting those bitches. Now we just have to go through the process of saving each little tiny piece. Bangs. Okay, items. I still don't have eyebrows, but that's fine. I have yet to add them. Bulk upload. Color. Oh, I need the colors. This is a good thing to do when you have a headache, I think. Let's listen to this song. I just don't like this particular method. I think that all of this is quite annoying. There are ways that this could have been made better. Can I code? No, but if I could, I'd make different quality of life choices. Okay? Why? But why? What did I do this time? Wow, my day is ruined. Oh, that hurts worse than my migraine. Oh. Why is this person so mad at me? Did we deserve this? I deserve... Eddie, please. I'm missing a color. I'm so sad now. Back to back in my thing, I see from Anvil of War, still no buff women, and then from Giga Prime, where the old man Yowie. Would you people what the fuck am I to you? Huh? My head hurts so bad, dude. But I need to get this done. I'm telling you right now, I'm doing math to determine how much of this project has literally just been me fucking clicking around in a bunch of folders, because unfortunately, I think it was a lot of time. Just back and forth, save as, boop boop, save, unclick, file, save as, hair bangs, 14, click, 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 click. Like, it's nothing engaging. I'm not learning anything. I'm just staring at a fucking document. If you guys don't like this video, I am never letting you recommend anything ever again. That is a threat. That is a threat, and you should feel very, very serious about that. I am in a lot of pain right now. Probably would have looked better if I had made everything, like, change colors, like the line art, but I'm too lazy to do that. I can't believe I still never did the eyebrows. I have all the eyebrows ready, I think. See, I really wanted to test if the way that I did, like, the open top thing would work with back hair, but I can't do that right now, because I'm not gonna go through the trouble of doing that. This is boring. I know you gotta try to make your own fun, but how do I do that here? Junior, hang on, please. I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. You can rest in just a moment. I promise. Hold on. Hold on. Now we preview. Oh, you can see their scalp. Yes. I am going to stop. It has been 2 hours. Huh. And so that was just 2 hours of fucking... Just clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. I hate it so much, but it's okay. I'm gonna lie down. I love you. No, don't say that, don't say that.
I apologize for the hostility towards you all. I like when you suggest things, I promise. With that, I had added 3 hours and 36 minutes to my work time, and it was then that I turned off everything that created light in my room, popped some painkillers, face planted into my pillow, and just kind of laid there in pain until I eventually passed out from exhaustion. Hooray! On day 7, it was a bunch more not recorded file uploading and Picrew interface fiddling. There was a little bit of art, specifically after I realized that there were some hair parts that didn't really match up to anything else, but other than that, the only thing of note here is that this was the day I decided I'm going to lower my standards. I woke up that day feeling incredibly unmotivated to continue this project. There were definitely parts of what I had made that I liked, but there were problems every time I seemed to open up the program. Problems that I knew would be incredibly time-consuming to fix. I was angry at myself that morning for not taking to this easier, and I was frustrated and tired and embarrassed and disappointed. But at this point, I knew I could not back out, not only because of how much time I had already put in, but also because I had already teased that this would be the next video and I didn't have anything ready to slap together in time to replace it. For pretty much the first time ever in my life, I could not afford to scrap a creative project that I felt was doomed. Do you guys feel bad for asking now? 'Cause you should. You should feel bad. You're a terrible person for making me do this. Guess you'll just have to compensate me for your misdeeds by buying my merch when I launch it soon and sending me pictures of you with merch. Just an idea. Oh, jeez. Anyway, in all seriousness, I needed to change how I was approaching this project, or I would have nothing to show for this video. I went in thinking that with the skills I had already developed, this would come naturally to me, so my first try would be great, but I was having too much trouble to follow through on the ambition that I set out with. I made the decision that I would pivot to treating this Picrew as a learning opportunity and a proof of concept, rather than a completed or definitive image maker, with the intention to either update or create an entirely new one in the future over a larger span of time with much more careful planning involved. I can definitely make something much higher quality with what I've learned making this one, so I'll just get together what I can now, let myself be a little nicer with the work that I've already done, and hope you guys understand. With that more positive and forgiving to myself outlook, I allowed myself to actually spend some time doing more art, which definitely helped with maintaining good spirits, and I recorded some bits discussing some of my troubleshooting as I went back and forth tweaking things, which I'll show you now.
Okay, so I have a lot of, I obviously still need to do all the icons. I also have some skin details, like some freckles, and like some moles, a couple options for those. I also tried to do some vitiligo, and I think it works. It's a little more like kind of like ashy. It doesn't necessarily, but I just don't know how to do this in a way that isn't the way that I did it. This hair is probably my favorite. Hold on, no, I want it to be blue. The blue is also like my favorite color. I don't know how this happened, but I just like, this is like so pretty. Pats self on back. Oh, I'm thinking I have these on the wrong, yeah, I think I have them on the wrong layer. Cause they're, yeah, those are supposed to be like the little wispies on the side. Let's just do that. Yeah, that looks so good. That looks so good. I love how nothing is where it's supposed to be. Okay. Wow, this is super wrong. Hee. Here, let's go fix this first, because I would like to see it work correctly. Hair up to, oh, that's what happened. Okay. It is because I accidentally swapped those two things when I started uploading, and so I just changed the names. I forgot to switch around the order. Okay. So this should be better now. Also, you can have no nose. I thought I'd leave that option in. Maybe your dream face has no nose. I don't know. I don't nose. Hee. I love these freckles. They're so cute. I'm just like applauding my own work. This is a good thing because I'm excited about this again. Anyway, we're gonna make all the hair blue again because, you know, I'm a liberal or whatever. The fuck am I talking about? See, now it's working as intended. Okay. Here's my dilemma that I've been dealing with, and what I realized, like, I needed to fix. Do you see these ones? So in my brain, I was like, oh, they pair with this, and then I put it next to this, and I'm like, they don't. But they don't, though. They don't, like, actually line up. They don't line up at all, actually. I don't know, I mean, I still have a lot of shit, like, left to do, obviously I do. I need to do all the icons. I have some things to fix about some hair, and I just need to do more braids. Like, the only, like, actual braid kind of situation are the bubble braids. Okay, see, so it's not as, like, it's much better on, oh, see, I don't like that, though. I don't want it to only look the way that I want on, like, be good depending on the skin tone. I will work on that. Okay, as you can see, it is hours late. Well, actually, I might block out the... But yeah, you can see. No, you can't see. That's just what time it is, or what the date is. Whatever. It's 8:57 now, but I'm going to test this again. Okay, so as you can see, I now have icons, which is pretty fun, you know? Where did my eyebrows go? Oh, it was just not loading. Okay. I can't tell if this is better. I remembered how I like to draw braids, and then I was having a good time, but for a second it was not fun. I also added this big wavy one because I thought it would look cool. But yeah, all the little teeny tiny braids, I think they turned out pretty good. I just straight up replaced that one before that was like really lazy because it was just little circles and it didn't look like really anything, so I just replaced this one because I was like, I don't have any. Now you can kind of make me. That's kind of my haircut. If you want to do that, I guess. Okay, I don't know that it combos as well as I wanted because of how I did the top. But what if I just ignore that? What if I choose to ignore that? Okay, see, I was worried that the braids, they're a little bit disguised by the shoulders, but I think that that's okay because you can still see plenty. And that's mostly what I wanted to make sure of. I'm a little bit stupid. I'm a little bit stupid, but not a lot stupid, because I accidentally still have one that works really well. This is a forced combo. Shit. Oh no, I'm dumb. No, they don't line up perfectly. That's fine. It's whatever. Oh, the cops are coming for me. Those sirens. It's actually not funny because like somebody is probably hurt, and that's sad. This is my favorite nose, which is a bummer. But like, I feel like I made the other noses like, maybe it's just because like even that to me, I prefer just not having any nose. I don't know. I just feel like the bigger noses kind of they don't fit as good. Which is why I allow you to move it around a little bit if needed. So actually, I don't think that it's too bad. I think they look good. I'm just being a little critical. You know, gave a bunch of little background options. They're nothing too fancy. There's like a grid one. There's just like a gradient one. And there's a flower one. But I also have a bunch of like little pride options. Obviously I cannot put like every single flag. See, this is what I was worried about as far as this one goes. I guess if you just, yeah, you can kind of tell that it's supposed to be the intersex flag. I guess I could offset the circle. This experience was one of the experiences that a person can have. I can say that very definitively.
This all took up, oh boy, 8 hours and 44 minutes of work, most of which was spent on the actual image separation and uploading again. Yeah, if I actually do try to either fix this maker or make a new one from scratch in the future, you better believe I am doing the uploading as I go. That time is ridiculous enough as is, but having to do all of that in one sitting is probably why I craved so much violence. And why I went to bed with another migraine. Whoops! I cannot possibly sugarcoat the feelings I had going into day 8. They were too foul. The sugar would not help. This was the second time in 2 nights that I woke up after going to bed with a migraine. I was being boiled by the sun. the heat, the little positive mental attitude that I had discovered the day before was just gone. It was super dead. I was tired of this stupid fucking website and these stupid fucking PSD files and my stupid fucking art. But I had sunk so much time into this that I was gonna finish whether I liked it or not. So, I got cozy and sacrificed my Saturday to get everything else ready. And I still couldn't this dumb-ass video out on time. Who's mad? Not me! For the art department, I finished putting together the clothing options because at this point, the Picrew folks were still nude. Honestly, I was very afraid of this step, which is why I pushed it off, because I had made 3 different body types, which meant I needed 3 versions of each clothing piece in order to fit the different bodies. That being said, it was actually pretty easy to do. It was definitely a relief, and did bring back a little of the fun, especially the tee that had different colors on the sleeves and collar. Is that what a baseball tee is? Sound off in the comments if that's what a baseball tee is, and I'm not stupid. I also made a few more tweaks to some background options, specifically making some pride flag backgrounds that I hate because I blurred them and desaturated them in the effort to not have them be really distracting from the actual character, but I just made everything muddy, but I was tired, so I just said when I do this again, I won't do that. Then, of course, the final step was to bake in a watermark on the thing because I did not spend this much time and energy to not get some free promotion. Also, no way am I going to have some Yahoo trying to convince people that they made their brand new PFP themselves. Nuh-uh, no. Unfortunately, that only left separating and uploading over and 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 over again until I was done. The final death toll of time that I had to sacrifice this day was a whopping 10 hours and 43 minutes. Oh, I don't even like typing that. That's just sad. If that's how much time I spent on something fun, it would be different, but that's just... ugh. I wasn't done, unfortunately. I had to get started on editing and scripting. Yay. Well, that's the whole journey, but apparently, because I did not torture myself enough in this video, I thought it would be a good idea to also do some math to determine how much time I actually spent doing everything. I do actually think that stuff like this is interesting to talk about if this is going to serve as a guide, or more realistically at this point, a warning to those that are thinking of making their own Picrew maker thing. You already heard me make note of how much time I spent each day working on this project, but let's break it down a bit more by how much time I spent on each work category. Due to the vagueness of my notes, I can only confidently break the workload into 2 categories, the first being the actual art, and the second being the tech side. The art category encompasses everything from sketching to line work to colors and shading. If I had to guess, just based on my usual work process and my memory of how this all went down, the line work was likely the biggest contributor to the time sink, followed by shading, sketching, and then finally coloring. Coloring only beats out the sketching for lowest rung because it was literally dragging and dropping from a palette, so while tedious, it definitely went the fastest. The tech side is comprised of obviously separating and saving the individual image files, as well as all the time spent uploading the files to Picrew and the time spent troubleshooting and altering things as needed. The separating definitely took the most amount of time, followed by the uploading and capped off by the troubleshooting. Of the 2 categories, the art side actually did represent the majority of time spent on the project at a total work time of 20 hours and 46 minutes. That time is genuinely not that bad for me. I normally spend close to that amount of time over 2 weeks making art, which is the time frame I worked on this over, off and on. Granted, it is usually not just for one thing, but still, that doesn't really hurt me much. Unfortunately, the art stuff was not a very big majority. The time spent on the tech side was a cumulative 16 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, the thumbnail was not clickbait. I actually did spend about 16 hours saving PNGs for this fucking thing. I am in agony. Anyways, if you combine the time spent between those 2 sectors, you get a total work time of a painful 37 hours and 26 minutes. this is the last time you'll ever see me quantify how much time I spend on things, because that hurts me a little bit. Anyways, if you follow through on the math, 55% of the workload came from art, and 45% came from PNG-based shenanigans. And, for the record, the total PNG yield of that time was 2,395. Spread across 17 different parts, and this is not counting the individual icons I made for the different categories, or any of the unused assets, of course. Youch. As tempted as I am to just write all that time off as a massive waste because I did not like the end results, that would be a bit unfair. I learned a lot of things about Picrew, specifically that anyone has made one deserves like 12 medals for their sacrifice and bravery. This shit is hard, and I didn't even do mine well, so I have so much more respect for the people that have made my own favorites than I did before. I also learned what not to do for the future. Speaking of the future, what might that look like? If I were to work on this any further, and it really is an if, and I make no promises not to abandon this baby, there are quite a few things that I would like to add or change, and I'm going to rattle my way through a list of things. This all either comes in the form of an update to the maker that I've already created, or more likely would arrive as a completely new, rehauled version based on the original. So, here we go. 1. The color palette did not work. Some of the pieces together were pretty okay, but a lot of the time when everything was put together, they just didn't look great. Specifically, the skin tones I felt like needed a lot of adjustments to fit better. I would definitely just want to fix up the color palette to make everything look better across the board. 2. As a sort of continuation to the previous note, big areas of black are just not a good idea. I love utilizing pure black in my art, and I have ever since working with actual ink revitalized my passion for art. But the thing about making a character with large areas of pure black is that you can control where those areas happen to be relative to each other, so you don't end up with a bunch of just shadow where you can't read it at all, which is what's happening with the maker. If you wanted someone with long black hair and also a black shirt in this current version, you get a floating head. Maybe that's what you want, but it's not what I want. So I definitely have the black swatches be a little lighter than my actual line art is. Number 3, make the art more consistent. There are a lot of inconsistencies in the art, including but not limited to detail inconsistencies, line color inconsistencies, and shading inconsistencies, which make the poor thing look a bit sloppy. I want to fix that. 4. I feel like the hair is just all over the place. There are a lot of different options, and a lot of the pieces individually are pretty cute, but some of these parts I feel like aren't different enough to justify them taking up a slot, while other, like, certain hair textures and styles are just, like, completely unrepresented. I think I just needed to plan it better so that I had, like, everything more consistent, and I also just feel like I needed more individual parts to make up the hair somehow. So I just really want to push myself if I went back so that I have enough options for everybody. 5. I ignored men. I apologize, men. For some reason, you all think that men are my favorite folks to draw. Not so. I love to draw women, and put cute outfits on ladies, and play dress up with babes. I am terrible at coming up with diverse options for masculine clothing and hair and such, and I really just let that weakness shine in this maker. I mean, I didn't even add in beers, and that's not because I gave up on that idea when the deadline got too close. I just didn't even think of it at the time. Whoopsie. Number 6. Accessories. I wanted lots more. I didn't add them. It's a bummer. I want to fix that. Necklaces, hats, headscarves, secondary layers of clothing, etc. Same goes for skin details. I had many plans, didn't get to do any of them. That's probably not the full list of things I want to fix, but it is the list I can think of now. So let's just get on to my final thoughts. The biggest question you might ask is probably, do you recommend making a hell no? Are you kidding me? No, absolutely. I would never recommend doing this to anyone ever. This was a terrible experience. I spent literally over a day getting migraines and working late into the night to make something I don't even like the end product of. fuck everything I said in my VTuber video. Never try something new. It's terrible. It's awful. It'll ruin your small, fragile sense of peace and fill your days with suffering. Fear new experiences. That being said, I feel like this is one of the first times I have actually really had to put into practice what I preach all the time. And I do think that it is a useful experience for me. I always say the typical encouraging stuff here and in private conversations, don't be afraid to try something new, don't be overly perfectionist, be proud of progress no matter how small, there's always time to find your own fun. All of that stuff is useful, but usually that mindset takes me really far and it works out, but this time, it just did not. The learning part of this process pretty much ended the first day I bothered with the tech stuff, and from then on out, I wasn't really problem solving, so much as going through the same tedious routine over and over again until I was done. That's not fun for me, and I'd imagine it's not fun for most people, actually. On top of that, I just didn't like what I'd made, but because the separation and uploading process took so long, I only went back and updated a single hairpiece throughout this entire process because it's all I was willing to do. I acknowledge that the biggest contributor to my not having a good time was trying to rush to get it done by a certain time, and I have a feeling that if I, or even you, got it put together over a long stretch of time and only worked on it when I really wanted to, it wouldn't have been nearly as bad. Maybe even really fun like it was at the very start, but I gave myself a very dicey deadline against what my own advice would have been to other people. I was my own worst enemy in this, as per usual. When will I learn? Still, there were parts of it that were enjoyable. It wasn't all bad. There were moments where I had a lot of fun putting things together during troubleshooting, and moments where I was really proud of how a piece turned out. They weren't exactly common enough to justify the work I put in as far as I'm concerned, but I'm still proud of myself for sticking to this, and I could genuinely see myself working on things behind the scenes if you all would like me to do that. I make no promises of time frame or even if I'm actually going to do that, but regardless of whether I do, the version that currently exists is live as of this video going up, so I guess enjoy, maybe? I am tired, so let me do a quick fan art feature and then sign off. I have 3 lovely artists to feature today, all of which you can find links to in the description. I'm gonna start us off with this lovely pencil piece from Avery Do Guide here on YouTube. I absolutely love pencil drawings. I know that I'm primarily a digital artist, and when I'm not, I have ink. But I got started with just pencils, so something about seeing some masterful use of graphite just scratches my brain. And something about the way you draw faces makes me incredibly happy. I like looking at it, I don't know what to tell you. I look sleepy, but happy, and that's not far off from my usual vibes, honestly. I also very much appreciate that you've drawn multiple versions of me here. Frankly, I do imagine me with my hair up to be a more true-to-form version of me, while the made-up and fluffy hair appearance is the tiny gremlin version, so fantastic accuracy here. Thank you so much for this art, Avery. Next, we have this absolutely gorgeous piece from Anonymous B over on Blue Sky. She's drawn the strawberry gal I made in my recent Fruit Ladies video. Strawberry Lady seems to be a fan favorite with y'all. Anyway, this is just so good. This style of art is so nice. I obviously love grungy, scratchy, chaotic art, but I have nothing but respect for folks who can pull off the cutesy, glittery thing this well. It's just so pleasant and cozy. It is a little funny to me that there is a lot more shading and shiny details on everything but the face. I feel like that's usually the opposite with most artists, where the face and eyes might be the only thing with crazy details. This isn't a diss, of course, it's just, like, very unique. I even feel like this really enhances this particular character, because I kind of thought in my brain that Strawberry Lady was a little stupid, a little derpy maybe, and I feel like this kind of shows that in a weird way, so thank you so much to Anonymous B for this amazing art. Finally, here's another piece from YouTube by Your Average Avocado. Long-time viewer of the channel now, first-time fan artist, to my knowledge. Anyways, they actually drew 2 versions of this piece, but I just wanted to show this version off because I think it's really cool. I don't know what violence I've just committed, but the more important thing is that I think I'm slowly becoming encrypted as my online presence continues, and I think that's really funny. I kind of just want to start crowdsourcing my persona's lore from you all, since they're technically a distinct entity from me, and I'm just curious to see how your perception of me shapes your interpretation of my character, regardless. I just love, like, the claws, I love the fangs, I love the eyes. I really like how the bottom eyelashes are stylized, so that it just kind of warps the shape of the eye. I always think it's really cool when people do that. Thank you, Avocado, for all your support and for this lovely art. It's that time again where I say thank you to my wonderful channel members, who you can see on screen now. These guys go above and beyond to support me and my channel, allowing me to invest more time and energy into making cool videos like this one. You can also become a channel member if you have an extra $2 lying around every month. You will join these guys in getting your name at the end of videos, in addition to getting access to some members-only community posts with early looks at thumbnails and art for videos, plus a bunch of cute custom emojis. That brings us to the end. Make sure to check out the description for the link to the freshly released Picrew if you want to use that janky thing, and links to everyone I featured as fan artists. I have nothing profound to say, my head still hurts, and I'm going to lie down. So until next time, stay hydrated, be kind to others, and most importantly, remember that you matter. Bye. I'm not sure if my next upload will have the new talk sprites, because I'm, like, not sure that they're ready yet, but if they are, I think it would be really funny if I just jump scare everybody with it and just don't acknowledge it. I think that's funny.